What is going on, comic fans? Welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday night. That means this is at Week's End. We're about to take a spoiler-filled look back at this past week in comics, movies, TV shows, news, all that. And there's plenty of all of that to discuss, from the writer strike being over and the studios going crazy, making announcements, to the finale of Loki. The Marvels came out. That's a thing. New episode of Invincible and new comic books. Let's get into this. Hey, Paul.
Hey, how are you?
Good. Who are we going to thank?
What?
Thank you to Big Time Collectibles. Be sure to check them out at bigtimecollectibles.com. Follow them on social media. And you can also now follow them and check out a live stream. They're pretty much holding business hours on Whatnot, Monday through Friday, 9 to 5 Central Time, where they're doing all kinds of fun stuff over there. Pick up some of their exclusives in real time. They do all kinds of giveaways, little bonus books just for the streams, all kinds of cool stuff. Just a fantastic online retailer, trusted seller, and one of the guaranteed trusted people on the platform of Whatnot as well. There are still some good people over there. And if you need anything Cleaner Press, be sure to hit up my good friend Justin over on Instagram. The link is in the description. Let him know you found him via the channel, and he will take care of your books for you. Not bad, right?
Not bad at all. Almost like you do that like every once in a while.
Every once in a while. I need some help with the next one. ATM, help me out here.
Huge thank you to everybody that has nominated and made Legion of Comics a finalist,
as well as TM Nerdy, as well as
TM Nerdy and Sector 2815. I don't have my little banner there that says "Go vote for Guess That Key," but look at all of these categories that Legion of Comics has been nominated.
That's not the important part. The important part is just to go over there and vote. Support Brian LCS, who puts on the event. That's really like the thank yous and everything. You don't have to vote for me. You don't have to vote for anybody.
Vote for Legion of Comics.
But just go support the thing. Like, we're trying to clock in numbers for Brian. Just vote numbers. We're all vote numbers. Even if contact some dead people, have them vote even. You know who else is a finalist in the CBC Awards?
I do.
Izzy verse NYC, Izzy second verse NYC. Congrats, Izzy
second verse, same as the first.
Ooh,
yeah,
it's happening.
Yeah. Dude, look, Travis merched out tonight. So yeah, there's all of those things, and as always, a huge thank you to the channel members. The membership is live. That's actually pretty relevant right now. There's a video that's already been available for channel members that's out there. The big crossover event that me and DJ Links did with our memberships last time, we're doing it again. We're doing it bigger. We're doing it better. The members have already seen it I'm pretty sure most of them already watched it. Now I saw where DJ posted his thumbnail on IG. And so, yeah, here, like this will drop tomorrow. We're doing it again. So be sure to check out that video tomorrow. There's actually two separate videos. There'll be one on my channel, one on DJ's channel. So watch both of them. And be sure to drop a comment under it, as I'm using those comments. So your comment could get selected to be used but not abused. Used but not abused. Well, we're going big. We're going really big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is monumental.
Yeah, that's what my wallet said. Like, what are you doing? So what's going on, Lustricious 1971? Hope you're doing good tonight. Comics by the Bay is in the building. Spidey's powdered tumblers, which I'm pretty sure, I don't remember if he's updated, became a YouTube member. So huge shout out to Spidey's powdered tumblers. Be sure to check him out on IG. Guess what he does? Tumblers? He powders tumblers, yeah, and other stuff.
At least he does it in powder.
Yeah, he'll powder anything but your nose. So be sure to check him out, hit him up, and be sure to hit me up, Spidey's Powder Tumbler. Get you a new members welcome pack. All the members get welcome packs, no matter what tier you join. Comic Man Andy is in the building. What's good, y'all? I'll tell you what's not good, and we're definitely going to be unpacking that hot topic book that he's referring to right there. Esteban is in the building. What is going on, brother? It was fantastic having him on the live stream this past Friday.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was. Pop's Attic, what is up? What is up? Brian LCS is in the building. Dr. Von Hoot, he was kicking it at a con today. He had an awesome picture. It was like him and Du Bois were all just like hanging out around a table. And you're looking over this ocean of men, and there's just a Mal perched up at the corner of the table. I'm like, check it out. There he is.
Nice.
He blends right in. You have to look close to notice him in a crowd.
It's a Where's Waldo scenario.
Yeah, it really is. Comic Cap Collectibles, what is going on?
What's up, Rich?
My Dersey boy, good to see you. John Stout, what's up? What's up? What's up? Making sure I'm trying not to miss people. Let's see. Get through this kind of fast. Trev, the shipping guru's in the building. What is going on? Hope you're doing good this evening. Taylor Winder. Hey, Seuss, someone made Izzy a finalist.
Yeah, man.
He has a lot of accounts.
I don't know.
Taylor.
I do. I have at least like 25 accounts. You know, and not all of them are comic
what
book
category?
based.
You're in the spec category, right?
So I'm in the spec category and I'm in the community artist
I was about to
category.
say,
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm losing both of
Speaking
them.
of
I'm pretty
Specs,
sure of it.
what is going on, Specs Vision? That's the writer of Legacy of a View, creator-owned comic. It's so you can follow Legacy of the View on Instagram under Specs Thompson or Legacy of the View. You should probably follow both. He's also the host of Chilling on the Green Box, which is a podcast that he does with a bunch of other indie creators, spotlighting people and stuff like that. Real good dude. And yeah. KBDM, what is going on? Good to see you tonight. Kenny B is in the building. What's up, Kenny? Aggressive Relaxing, what is up? Y'all see this Marvel's movie? Hot Chicks, Cats, and Samuel L. Jackson. God bless America.
Can't get more American than that, can you?
No, it's more. No, you can't. It's more money and powdering noses. Facts. Big facts. 23, what is going on? Good to see you this evening. Phil is in the house. What is going on, Phil? What's up? What's up? I think I made it to the bottom. If I missed you, I apologize. I'm not sorry. Just leave more comments and we'll catch you. So yeah, this has been a huge week. The writer's strike officially ended, and what comes with that is not necessarily that's the one. Actors' strike officially ended, which took the pressure off the studios to be able to start talking again to the public. And man, they had a lot to say, all kinds of stuff to say. They gave us some projected film dates. Stuff was pushed back.
Yeah.
And
So basically, what we're looking at is 2024. The only superhero movie that'll be coming out next year is Deadpool 3.
Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the only. It's only Marvel superhero movie.
Right. What else is?
DC is supposed to release Joker.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, Joker 2 is also scheduled to release at the end of next year.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Still,
Like
even
the good old days, right?
Only one.
I don't even know the tentative date on Joker. It doesn't really. I mean, I've been seeing some. What do you call it? Like pictures on set and all that. But just for context, Deadpool 3 got moved from May 3rd next year to July 26th. Captain America, which was originally titled New World Order, which is now dubbed Brave New World, that went from July 26th of 24 to February 14th, Valentine's Day 2025. I feel like that's just a placeholder. Then you have Thunderbolts went from December to July of 25, and then Blade, which this past week was confirmed by director to be rated R, and Michelle Ali is back on board, and there's all kinds of other would be troublesome things that came along with those announcements, but that's got pushed back to November 7th of 2025. So currently where it sits, we have 3 Marvel properties slated for 2025 and one.
Yeah. And the Captain America one, that originally got moved up because it was taking Deadpool's place. I got moved back because supposedly it did not test very well at all, and they're doing massive reshoots on it.
Oh, that sucks. That's like the one, like Deadpool aside, I feel like Deadpool's an anomaly just because he's coming in with from what I understand, more or less the same cast and crew that predates it under the Disney umbrella. So that's kind of like I just feel like that movie will be fine no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's all the hype that surrounded it too, right? So that's one
Hugh
of those movies that everybody's gonna go see it. There's a lot of hype behind it. Everybody wants to know who's in the movie. So even if the movie is garbage, let's just say it's garbage, people are gonna go crazy to go see it, just like they did for Doctor Strange.
So that's literally one of those ones like where you go in, your expectations are set to the tone of the character. You know what I mean? Like that's his brand, like talking to the camera. He's a smart aleck. That's all he does is talk out the side of his neck. But to have like him and Hugh Jackman on screen together in the 3rd and final installment, that's like a Deadpool in-game level move. I mean, it's not in, but you know what I'm saying? That's like when Cap finally says Avengers Assemble. They've been building up to that in his own little corner of superhero movie stuff. It should be great to see the Deadpool kills the Fox universe is what they're going with. We've seen the crumbled 20th Century Fox stuff on set. We know what they're doing, which I'm going to bring that up again here in just a little bit to pop a lot of people's bubbles. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
I just want to make sure it wasn't the Deadpool one that tested bad. It was the New World one that tested bad, and that's why they moved it, because they originally moved it up to take Deadpool's place. It tested bad, so they're doing massive reshoots, and they fished it back out to 2024.
Well, they
Marvel people don't test well. We talked about a movie that did test well last week, and that's one that I'm heavily excited for.
Well, Marvel owns that first week of May. That's owned by Marvel. Every Marvel movie, every year there's a Marvel movie on May in that first week of May. This is the first year that's coming up that there's nothing scheduled, but they still own that slot. So we could see it get pushed up even further to get that slot, because that's a slot that they currently own and they don't want to give up that slot.
And on top of that, like if there was never a writer's strike or an actor's strike, if there's like they announce these movies in giant slates on big stages to audiences for camera's sake. They announce these timelines. And ever since phase like 2.5, 3, they started shifting, they're tentative plans. Like that's all this is right now. The tentative plans got shifted. I mean, if things go shockingly well, it can definitely change, I'm sure.
How many times have they put out a press release that says unannounced Marvel movie or untitled Marvel movie?
They got as often as they put out one that says canceled Star Wars movie, which is very often. But
they're gonna have something that week. I almost guarantee there's gonna have
Brave New World had some set photos that dropped this week. We got to see Harrison Ford sitting in a chair looking at some monitors with Anthony Mackie next to him, and what you can see was a different Captain America outfit. It's kind of less flashy. Like the one that they did in the television show when he finally did the reveal as Captain America, which was epic, was literally like stitch for stitch out of the comic. And it looked cool, but Mike needs to be a little bit tightened up around the edges kind of thing. But it looks like they're kind of bluing it out. It almost looks like a Winter Soldier kind of version. You remember in the comics when Steve just like did the white lines with the star on it and everything? That's what it kind of reminded me of. It was just a side shot, but it didn't look as as elaborate. But I'm excited for it. I hate to hear it's testing bad. I think that was one of the biggest missteps they had post Endgame, was not getting Captain America back to the forefront of your brand. I mean, Anthony Mackie, Falcon, has been beloved since early on. He's a fantastic actor, well-received character, and he fits the position for Captain America right now in the MCU. They just blows my mind that it is going to be 2025 before we get him. That's insane.
And it will be 2.5 years since we last saw him, maybe, right? And in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Like, he hadn't even popped up in other stuff. Like, you don't even have placeholders for him. Who knows what he's been doing? I guess he's just working on a boat and applying for loans still. But
there you go. Once he gets that loan, he'll be fine.
It's still hard getting loans these days. You know what I'm saying? So he's struggling. I think with that movie, though, it's the one movie that I'm excited to see it, but at the same time, I don't have super excitement for it, because I haven't I like Falcon and Winter Soldier, but I don't see much happening from this movie. All I keep hearing is getting moved up, it's getting moved back. I see some set photos, but I really don't know what's going on, other than it's no longer NWO. So now it's Brave New World, which they took off of DC comic, if you remember.
America needs a break for America. I don't know, Taylor. I think having Anthony Mackie up there being Captain America probably good for the America brand and the America brand, if they're different. You know what I mean? I don't know. People love Anthony Mackie.
See how it's going to turn out.
That Captain America 4 movie was the one that started doing full body scans of extras, causing people to freak out. Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Without getting into all the details of the actors and writers stuff, because I do know that they got the provisions they wanted and safety nets they wanted for those AI scan stuff and stuff like that. So that's good to know. So we'll see where that goes. And as I've mentioned, it did get confirmed this week by Kevin Feige that that unannounced Star Wars project that he was working on is officially canceled. Officially canceled. Kevin Feige, as of right now, will not be heading to a galaxy far, far away, which too bad, huh?
It seems like he has enough he needs to do in the Marvel universe.
Mhm.
And plus, there's like they already have like two kind of projects coming with like the Rey movies that are coming. Like I don't know if they're going to be doing like they're doing a Rey story again, like, and then they're going to do the whole Heir to the Empire story. It's going to be a separate thing as well.
Mhm.
So they already got like two other projects that they're doing that they're coming forth with. So throwing that into the mix is just like a little bit too much.
Now, could it be that they might take that slot and put one of those TV series and turn them into a movie? Because that's what they should have done with Obi-Wan.
Well, I think they were planning on doing it for the
Yeah, I think it
Mandalorian.
was Bubs that told me that he found online this cut of Obi-Wan that they edited it down to a movie length and put like original soundtrack to it. He said it was fantastic.
It was better than the TV series.
Yeah, I mean, they
That's
could
okay
also.
with me. He needs to fix the MCU. Yeah, crazy don't fix
They
crazy.
could. They could take they could take a Pixar movie or a Disney movie and throw it in that week instead too. So
Yeah. Well, Inside Out was announced, so they might put that there.
Right.
Mhm. So that's a possibility.
Mhm.
I just don't see them giving up that slot. That's all.
yeah,
If they have anything to put in it.
it's gonna be
They'll have
yeah,
something. They'll have something.
it's gonna be slim pickings for a while in the movie theaters.
Yeah. They'll have stuff. That's guaranteed. They'll have stuff. It's like
Another
it's
thing
like
that
WB,
came
they
out
got
of
stuff.
another thing that came out, speaking of WB, another thing that came out of this week's announcements is James Gunn posted in a beautiful traditional Superman font that Superman Legacy is still 100% on track despite the writer strike, despite the actor strike, 100% on track to hit its mark for its scheduled release date of July. What is it? July 25? Was that the
July 11th,
Yeah.
2025, I think, right?
Yeah, so they want to do it like
And
that.
and supposedly he's gonna start filming in March.
Yeah, they were. What's funny is it looked like they were scouting locations in the past month. They were
Right.
seen in other places, and people were speculating that they were scouting locations and stuff, which is great to hear. I think real location filming is something that a lot of people move away from. Just green screens, man, they get a lot of airtime these days.
Well, to be honest, that's the one movie that I don't think was really affected by everything because right before the actors strike, they had the actors, right? And James Gunn is writing it. So he, let's be honest, he has the story in his head. He doesn't have to put it on paper, right? Officially, he can't say he wrote, but he had something, right? So
we pointed it out
at
the time right here on this show. The hour before the writer's strike went into effect, he posted to social media that picture of the cover page. Guys, I finished the Superman movie. Don't worry, it's written, it's done.
Yeah, so he's not. He wasn't worried.
Obviously,
he was doing
like
other things.
He publicly supported the strike and everything and all that, but realistically, the guy's not going to sit at his house and just stare at the wall, wonder what I'll do today. He's going to write.
Yeah, he was.
Plus, it's a little different than him. Like he's not like a writer that's been hired by the like he is the like
He's the
writer.
him and
director,
Zaslav are like the creating team at DC right now.
So the one thing they weren't doing, they weren't hiring actors at the time. They weren't quote unquote writing in the writer's room. He was literally finding places, checking things out, seeing where they were gonna go, seeing what kind of film, all that stuff.
He was acting as a director who weren't out on strike.
Exactly. He was getting a crew ready. That's what he's been doing. So it didn't. I doubt if it affected him at all.
He's walking around the world.
That ended up getting canceled by Warner Brothers is the Coyote versus Acme.
I didn't know that was a movie.
Or John Cena, yeah.
Yeah, it was all about the Coyote ending up suing Acme for always screwing up his everything that came from Acme never worked, so he's like suing Acme, and it's like a live action / cartoon type movie.
There we go. J-Med says, as a writer that was out on the picket lines, out on the lines picketing, all the writers were writing new scripts. They just weren't shopping them. That's actually really good to hear, because that means they all go shopping them as soon as it comes up, like ready to get back in action, ready to get some paychecks. And that means the studios have like a wide variety of stuff to look at, really fuel that creative talent competition.
Yeah, and I mean, and we got the holidays coming up, which normally kind of tamps down a lot of the announcements and things like that. But I would not be surprised if we just get a flurry of announcements between now and the new year.
Yeah, so they didn't get to do a lot of promotional work that they would like to do. But now all the promotional work is out. They're doing all their things. Like, the one thing I heard that really got affected more than the actors in it is just like the restaurants, the catering business, all the makeup artists. They were suffering the most, because it's like, we're not on strike and we need jobs and we can't do anything. So they're the ones that got really affected by it. The writers and the artists and the actors, they were doing other things in the time.
Yeah, I'm happy. Real quick, Paul. I'm gonna let y'all hold this down for a minute. I'm gonna bounce out and just restart my computer. It keeps hitting like a choppy mode on me, and it's driving me nuts.
Okay.
Yeah.
The other good thing too is that besides, I mean, all the movies and everything, is that since it has ended, they should be able to salvage at least part of a TV season for most of the TV shows as well. Probably no more than 13 episodes at the most, probably, for those that typically go 20 or 22. But they may end up working through their normal holiday break as well to get a lot of this done. But they should be able to salvage most or a good portion of it anyway.
And that was the thing that was different then, right? So back then, as you and I remember, TV series were 23 episodes, 24 episodes. Right. They were long seasons, right? So if you had a strike, you had so much season to not worry about, that you could just keep going. Where now seasons are 10 episodes, 6 episodes. Right. You can't really play that game there anymore, right? So that's something that suffers. So we're going to see a lot. I'm pretty sure we're going to see a lot of great baking shows and, home improvement shows. They're going to show up. But, watching Jimmy Fallon, watching SNL, you could easily tell, oh, we're back. Now we're going to be doing this. We're doing this. We're going to shout out this.
Yeah. So. And to your point, a lot of shows are doing those shorter seasons. And that was one of the main sticking points in the writer's strike, was that they didn't want to guarantee a certain, because you're supposed to have a certain number of writers in a writer's room, depending on how many episodes you have. And because, when it used to be 22, I remember when I used to watch MASH, it was 26 episodes. They did 26, and then they just replayed them all again, and that was the reruns for the second half of the year.
Yeah. And there was nothing in the summertime, remember? Summertime was dead.
Yeah, and now they're doing, 10, 13 episodes. The producers didn't want to guarantee a certain number of writers in the writer's room, but they got, they still got that tiered thing based on how many episodes you have. Yeah. You have to have X number of writers in the writer's room.
Yeah, so I remember that TV series were usually 22, 23 episodes. Animated series were usually 13 episodes. Right. And with animation, it was easier because kids didn't care. They just kept watching the reruns over and over, because that's how they designed it. They designed it so that it wasn't continuous storytelling, right? But nowadays, it's not like that. Everything is a continuing storyline, and it's shorter for the actors so they could do other things like movies and other things, where now it's, that's back then it was like if an actor was an actor on a TV show, that's primarily where you saw them. There was some rare exceptions like Michael J. Fox, who would do Family Ties in the morning, and at night he would do Back to the Future or Teen Wolf or something like that. Right. So, it's definitely a different time period, and the strike affected them now more than it would have years ago. But I would say by the 90s, by that time period, that's when it started changing by the 2000s.
Right.
So,
hey, Mark.
Speaking of shorter seasons, Loki wrapped up on episode 6. Paul, did you catch up with that?
I did.
So this is one just because of the current state and expectations and quality of product we've been getting from the House of Mouse. I had a short fuse with it. I thought episode 1 was fine. I thought episode 2 was fine. I thought episode 3 was just an utter turn straight into the dump. So I was ready to bail on it at 3. And after hearing like a lot of good feedback from 4, I checked it back out, and it was enough to keep me invested. And I'm glad it did, because episode 6 by itself independently is probably the single best written and executed anything that Marvel has ever put out under the House of Mouse. That was just a treat to watch, experience, and it was I absolutely loved it. They did so much with that finale, for that character, for that cast, for fans. It was exceptional.
I agree. I was worried with episode 5, though. Episode 5 had me worried.
Episode 5, same here. That
was the one I didn't like. I didn't like episode 5 because I felt like you started here, and then by the end you went right back to where you left off. So that whole episode was like, we're just gonna waste time here.
4 happened in the end of that with the loom exploding. Everyone's like, they're doing it. They're doing the reset. They're doing it. Like, no, they're not. Chill your brakes. This is going to be another like bait and switch. And episode 5 happened, and they introduced a MacGuffin of him controlling the time skip. And that's how I was feeling. Oh, yo, you look dapper, bro. What are you up to? You dressing like that for bed? Sure, no. Paul.
What? Speaking of bow ties,
look at that. There we go.
Looking good, Finn.
You should. They'll probably make you work in the principal's office with that outfit. Like, you clock in, kid.
Dress like this at school.
He's dressing like a high-class 6-year-old now.
Yeah, dressing like that at school worked for Post Malone.
You better not.
He used to like dress to the nines everywhere he went as a kid, apparently. But yeah, episode 5, like, I'm like, yep, there it is. There's the cop out kind of thing. But let it just be like its own thing kind of deal. And I reminded myself that Loki's dead. This Loki has nothing to do with the main continuity timeline. This is a variant from a different place and time. This is its own thing.
Avengers 1 Loki.
Yeah, this is its own thing altogether. Like, it started like that, it's going to end like that, and that's exactly what it did. But they made it matter.
So he is like the David S. Pumpkins of the its own thing.
Own thing. Exactly.
He's my own thing.
Yeah.
And what are they? Part of it.
Part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, because to your point, and that's one of the only that I actually, because I don't think it would have worked for the ending. For me, doesn't work for the Loki that we saw in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
No,
to me,
that dude's the god of mischief.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor said Loki as a whole is one of the best things Marvel has done. It had some weak moments, but it stuck the ending, and the ending made the whole thing work. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't have said it better if I was Taylor. And for those that don't know, I am Taylor.
I love the ending. I thought it was perfectly done. The only confusion I have is, how did he become so powerful in this universe?
Well,
that's the only thing I don't know.
Time out.
How he was able to do what he was doing.
Well, that's the thing. He didn't become so powerful. He is so powerful. Just like Thor. These guys travel through a wormhole everywhere they go. Like in Thor 1, you know what I mean? He hung on like the edge of like cosmic space and fell into it, and like these are not abnormal feats for these characters, but the brand has watered them down so bad that they convinced an entire audience that it was cool when Thor revealed he didn't need the hammer to use his powers. Like, when did anyone ever assume that? Like, when did anyone ever stop assuming? Like, I was wondering why the hell Loki's running around and these things being so problematic for him. Like, why does it take like they have to shut off his magic for this reason. I get it. Like it's like the Green Arrow, Green Lantern run. You have to dumb down Green Lantern. And you have to smart up Green Arrow to make it work. And they let him be him. They let him be him for a moment.
Yeah.
Also, it was said in last season, Loki looked at Sylvie and said, "I think we're stronger than we think." So it was always in there.
Yeah.
It's just he didn't realize it.
And look what other Loki did in the first old Loki. You know, he had his time to shine in that first season. I mean, he's the god of mischief. You know, these are fictitious characters, and inside this fictitious world, these are literal gods. They're not.
Yeah.
They're not just.
Although
people.
that glorious purpose thing calls back to the very beginning of the first season. So he is referencing something that a variant said.
It calls back to Thor 1, doesn't it? Where he's burdened with glorious purpose.
And now he has the burden of glorious purpose, you know.
Why do you think Mobius is in 2022? That's the date of Endgame, right? Well, none of these people are on that timeline trajectory.
No.
None of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like using the safeguards to create stakes, pretty much, because otherwise Loki could just run around and do whatever he wants. I agree. Winter Soldier was like overall. I'm talking like just straight up the writing and execution. Winter Soldier was my favorite, probably easily in the top 3 best MCU movies. Endgame had the last 50 minutes of it was great. The first 3 hours of it was mid as it gets. No Way Home is just fan service to the max done right. It's not a good movie. It's just a great fan service experience. Love it. I tear up in it every time still watching Andrew Garfield catch MJ. I'm like, God, that's it. That's it. Are you okay? Are you? I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Why didn't anyone ask me?
Yeah, but Winter Soldier, I'm with you. Winter Soldier is probably my favorite out of all of them because first of all, it's the least superhero movie out of all of them, right? Because it's more of an espionage type of story.
Yeah, as it should be.
And it's the least superhero out of all of them, but it has the best depth from beginning to end. The whole story as a whole is just so, like, the moment we find out about Hydra's involvement, it was like,
were y'all ever expecting like there to be like some kind of hint at least that Alexander Pierce was Red Skull? You know, Robert Redford's character. I was expecting to get like some kind of like hint. Like that would have been the move, you know what I mean? Because like they've moved him up into like modern times in the comics, and he's worn masks and been a man of many faces and titles. That would have been dope.
I think he was gonna be more like the guy they screwed up in Avengers 2. What was his name? The leader.
Oh, Ultron.
The leader of Hydra. No, the leader of Hydra.
Oh, Baron von Strucker.
Yes, von Strucker. That's the name. I knew it was Baron, but I couldn't remember. I thought he was going to be more like what their version of a Baron von Strucker should have been, instead of what they did to Baron von. That was the first. To me, that was the first time I was like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Yo, dude, I talked about this on Friday. I absolutely loved that they called that out because the way that Victor Timely was written, I thought was just too campy. It was too much of that modern MCU flavor that people don't typically like to chew on. Like trying to just put it nicely as I can, just the modern MCU tone and style is not what people overall are really getting excited about. It's what they're walking away from. And that's what Victor Timely felt like. And when He Who Remains made fun of him, I'm like, God, that entire conversation with Loki and He Who Remains put the Matrix on notice. Like that was some of the best dialogue exchange I've seen that on Disney Plus, like easily.
Well, to credit Jonathan Majors, the actor, not the person. We're gonna separate that for a moment.
The performance,
the performer, right? The actor. We need
a disclaimer overlay.
Disclaimer.
It's like we're talking about Jeff Johns' release dates all over again.
No, he has proven that he was the right casting for Kang, because in every time we've seen him, he was able to pull off the same person differently. Like,
I don't know. At the end of Ant-Man, I wanted to throw like my drink at the screen at the end of Ant-Man when he's like,
But
Like,
he was still scary. He was
no, he
scary.
wasn't. I wanted
was
to throw
moments
a
he was
cough
scared.
drop at him and tell him to get off the screen.
Well, he was the best part of that movie. I'm
I'm talking about like at the end when you got all those variants and he's like
oh yeah, that was I'll admit to that one. That was a little odd, especially
let's definitely hit on this because I mean I'm assuming that everybody in the chat has watched already. So without doing a crazy summary, Loki walks out the gangplank and he blows up the loom and he grabs a hold of all the different time branches and walks them to what's left of the chair that was at the desk of the He Who Remains, sits on it while holding all these branches and using his the magic that he is the wielder of to keep these branches with life, with energy, with enough juice to keep them from dying. And that's where we leave this Loki, like with an epic fashion, sitting there just being the battery basically that's keeping all of these timelines from just not existing. So how did y'all perceive that? What is Loki now? What is his purpose? Where does this character, this specific Loki, go from here?
Honestly, I think we should be done with Loki. My personal opinion. That's my personal. I don't think we're going to be done with him because I do think he's going to play a major role as far as Secret Wars go. If anything, he may play the role of what the Beyonder is, or who Molecule Man is. He could play that role now. My personal opinion is that leave him alone. Let him be. You know what I'm saying? Maybe have Sylvie play the role or something like that, because Sylvie's still out there, right? So she's a Loki, or get previous versions of Loki. Get the kid Loki or something. I don't care. Get Alligator Loki for all I care. Leave Tom Hiddleston alone.
No love for Throg. Got it. Just going to do an Alligator Loki versus Throg movie. Paul, what do you think of this Loki at this point?
Yeah, I would not be surprised that they use that somehow to reboot Iron Man, and there's been talk about rebooting Iron Man and
they're all coming back.
Scarlett Johansson's character, Black Widow, doing all of those. So I wouldn't be surprised if somehow that's tied into what we saw at the end of Loki.
Mm-hmm. No, Specs, we're actually huge proponents of this man is innocent until proven guilty, and grateful that Disney hasn't fired him like the missteps they've done countless times before for other people. Amber Heard's a psychopath. Johnny Depp's a psychopath, and they deserve each other. It's funny that anybody can draw a line between those two, and y'all must not have watched the court case. They're both crazy.
I was doing this thing called
Majors is phenomenal. Majors is phenomenal. I hope to God he's innocent. But for an update on that, it doesn't look like things are going too good because Disney's quietly distancing themselves from him as far as cutting out a lot of story and parts of him in the show, as well as canceling a release earlier this month for a movie that wasn't even Marvel related to release on the platform. They dropped it.
They're staying clear of him until further notice.
Mm-hmm.
Even as much so as like saying like the Loki or the Loki, but the Kang that we got in Ant-Man is actually dead. So I definitely think like he's coming back for Secret Wars. Like if anything, or the Kang Dynasty type thing, like if nobody can stop Kang or whatever's happening, the only one who can actually step in is Loki, Tom Hiddleston, because he is stronger than Kang. He remains needed that little rock to do it. Loki can just do it by like sheer will. So
yeah, I thought that was one of the coolest scenes. He's like, he just puts his hand up and freezes Sylvie. What makes you think it's the first time we've had this discussion? And Major's response was epic. He just kind of perks up, excited at the thought of not knowing that what's about to happen in this conversation. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, he's holding the entire multiverse together, and I like that it was represented with the Tree of Life. That calls back to Phase 1 with Thor. It calls back to Phase 1 with Captain America when Red Skull first discovered the Tesseract behind the Tree of Life, hiding in Germany. Like, just so much cool stuff with this finale. He's the Watcher of Time. He sees all. He'll be able to protect himself through the timeline. Yeah. Someone else said that they felt like he could potentially be the Watcher. I'm like, I don't know. He's more like the Sitter. I think I think that where he is, what he's doing in that current state, he doesn't have any ability other than to do what he's doing, like get up and sacrifice it all. Or I would be happy if we never see Tom Hiddleston as Loki again, because I would rather them leave it on this epic note and just know that variant of Loki is right there planted firmly. And it just gives so much weight to the character, like they did with the death of Iron Man, the death of Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow. The
only reason why I could see him returning is to finish Thor's story, because it feels like Thor's story is still not finished.
This isn't Thor's Loki. This isn't.
No, I agree, but that's the only time. That's the only way I could see him return, because there was discussion of them meeting again, that they're supposed to meet. That, remember, Thor loses his family. That's all he does is lose his family. And now that he has his what love, that's what I forgot her name, the girl. In the end of Love and Thunder, the girl that's supposed to be his
kid, Gore's daughter.
Yeah, Gore's daughter. That's supposed to be
her name is Love.
Love, yeah, it's supposed to be Love, right? So
it's not supposed to be, but God dang it is.
So
with that movie, nothing.
With Thor's story is not fully finished, and there are discussions. They have been discussion in place that Thor's story needs to finish with Loki, but I think we have a better ending for Loki here. It's without Thor, and I think that's fine. It ended up being just fine because it became full circle. It became his redemption story. He wanted the throne for selfish purposes. Now he got a throne for selfless purposes. You know what I mean? And he still achieved the goal he wanted. It just ended in a way he didn't expect it. Now he's just sitting down, just holding branches together with the largest horns in the world.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool too, though, because like the entirety of like this 2-season story, because it really was just one like unbroken story. Could have released, as like Paul pointed out, like we don't could have been a 12 episode, 13 episode season or whatever, and it wouldn't feel like there's a break between it even. But it kind of like the whole theme of it all was like dealing with really like free will and choice, like with all these variants and them taken against their will. And if there's all these versions of you, what does it even mean? Does it have like value to your life? What does it hold? And finding that Loki found that value in there, and finding like that free will, that purpose, that choice, and for him to actually choose to sacrifice it for other people. That was just such an unexpected, even though like we saw it working its way there, it's such an unexpected way to go for that character. I don't want to see this Loki ever again. I don't want to see him somewhere being a good guy ever again. Just stay there. You made the right call this one time. Stay there.
But like all things, they need to go back to the well on something. So I can't see them not go back somehow.
Oh, I can't either. They're probably scrambling to figure out how to do something. Yeah, that's
I don't need to see Tony return. I honestly don't need to see Steve return. I don't need to see him return.
So to that point too, like that rumor went out that they're looking at like the countless announcements. They're looking at finding a way to bring the original cast back. And this, I mean, take it with a grain of salt, but Feige did go on record and say that he hasn't spoken to anybody about coming back except for Scarlett Johansson. Like that's actively in discussions to figure out something to do with her, which I think y'all done enough. Of all people, she had to sue Disney to get.
So the one person who sued them, she's the only one who's heard from them so far.
She must have won that one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Her story, I think they screwed that up, especially with that movie, that Black Widow movie. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it, and I didn't think it was necessary. It was completely unnecessary. All it was let's introduce some new characters for the future. They could have done it anywhere else. That's all they did.
$5 super chat from the homie and channel member Papa Willie. Hello from Banner University Hospital. ICU room. Wow, I have a beast mode pneumonia going on. Johnny Depp can suck it. Dude, I hope you feel better soon, my dude. Hope you feel better soon.
Yeah, get well soon, man.
I love that he's sitting in the hospital and that, but he still hasn't yet to be like Johnny Depp can suck it.
I want to tell you
in Banner University.
I just want to make sure we put more context to this. Johnny Depp can suck it. Amber Heard can suck it. They both can suck it. And I hope to God both of them are in movies in the future. You see how that works? You cannot give a shit or condone their behavior and still enjoy what they do. That's how that works. Looking forward to seeing her as Mira, even briefly in Aquaman. And holy damn it, Christmas! I hope they bring Johnny Depp back for another pirate movie. Guilty pleasure. Love those movies. Even the bad
they
ones.
kill her?
She does she looks good as Mara too. Like she's not hard to look at. I'm gonna say that, but most crazy ones are good to look at. So.
And she performs. She crushes that character. Does a great job. They settled. She
I don't have to like
big.
you to like you.
No, I ain't gotta like you to like you. Those new characters were awesome, though. Please stay strong and get better, Papa. Absolutely, absolutely. So, the elephant in the room.
I'm sorry, I can go.
Is that just over his shoulder there?
You want to do this right here, Izzy? Going from the
Not me.
The best of the best that I've seen recently to.
Notice how this one's on the top, right?
Yeah, that's an official ranking. And, this probably lines up really well. This probably lines up really well. Let's see. Lines up good. It's a little too high, but it lines up good. The Marvels released to
I think it's in a good spot where it's at. I think
honest to God, that's
I'll
like
put
right
it on the orange level.
Yeah, that's honest to God right where I can put it. Yeah, because despite all of its faults, there's definitely some enjoyable aspects to it, but they don't change the fact of what it is. And
I love every critique I've heard, with the exception of one. And I love that critique too. Dan Merle's critique I love, because he's the one that absolutely hated the movie, right? But everyone else's critique is almost exactly the same. It's a fun movie, but it's not a great movie. That's what every single person has been saying.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of context that has to go into starting this conversation. And Screen Rejects, what's the name of that dude over there, TM? Because we both follow him on IG. Cody.
Oh, Coy Jandra.
He's
Coy. Okay, I know it's Coy.
Coy's fantastic, positive person. Absolutely stands by the industry. Absolutely loves the industry. Finds the good in all of this stuff. Same for his two partners that they do that YouTube show with.
Real Rejects.
And to see like long time standing voices of positivity and all of this stuff come out with the early reactions before everything gets really like tainted by like the public persona of all this stuff. Everyone had the same reaction. And I'm not even going to front. I watched this movie last Wednesday night before it released on Thursday. I did not go to the theater to see this, and I'll leave it at that. But I was sitting here at my computer, and I went to go.
Special screener privileges, you know.
I went to go look for something to check in on something, and I saw that sitting there. I'm like, yo, the kids fell asleep early. I'm going to turn this on, and I ended up sitting here and watching the whole thing. And I walked away from it with the exact same take as that. There's definitely fun to be had here if that's all you're looking for. Some people gauge if they think a movie is good by how many times they laugh. That's fine. A lot of people are naturally more critical when they watch movies. They enjoy dissecting movies. They enjoy when everything lines up because they feel the payoff at the end for them because that's how they're watching it. So that is just much needed context because I know there's going to be a lot of mixed reviews even in the chat probably from people that saw it. But for me, this movie was an absolute dumpster fire. Now that's not like it's not in the red. Like I'll give it orange. The performances were decent. Like, you know, there was Nick Fury was terrible, just like he was in Captain Marvel. Was not Nick Fury. Kamala Khan was Kamala Khan. I'm not a real big fan of kid actors, but I get the honest feedback that you're hearing of her, like her positivity and she clearly loves the role and blah blah blah. Yeah, that's fair. What the third one that doesn't have a name at all? No, just Monica Rambeau.
Ultron.
Nope. Just Monica Rambeau. Not important enough to give her a name. Yeah, they didn't feel it was important enough to give her a name at all in this movie. She was there, she was present. It was just the plot was lazy, the villain was lazy, the third act was terrible and lazy, and the only redeeming quality is just some of the dialogue. Like I chuckled like a couple of times, and some of it, like especially looking back on it, having like thought about it for a while, some of it has that delightful feel. And when like I got past like the accepting phase of God, why would they release this movie? Why would they release this? Why would they do this to this cast? Why would they not like go all in for this cast? Like you've gone all in for everyone else. How does this budget justify this product? Because it didn't look finished at all. There's lines of dialogue that make no sense. Like the big ending, you have Monica Rambeau go out to close a breach in one of the little what are they, the little portals, you know, that they travel through. And she just goes out there like it's not just kind of just started happening. She goes out there and Carol's like, you're going to get stuck. And her line of dialogue is just, I know, I never expected to come back this whole time. Like clearly we're missing a chunk of movie for this scene to have like the whole time. And there's just like nonstop stuff like that through it. Like you're introduced to these characters and their powers through an extensive fight scene, which was beautifully choreographed. The fight scenes were super dope, especially that first one with like the switching places and just fighting all over the place. It was great, but you get to see Monica Rambeau's powers highlighted in grave detail. And then you fast forward just a few minutes and she's not aware that she can't use her powers and catch someone out of the sky because she's like translucent when she's using them. Just gaping plot holes. And it was just bad. Like, it's just one of those, if you can turn your brain off and just watch it, you'll love it. Like, that makes zero sense with how I watch movies. Like, unless I've seen it numerous times, I'm not turning my brain off. I'm trying to watch it. I'm trying to remember every scene. I'm trying to keep up with the story so I don't miss something later in the movie. And none of that mattered in this. Like if you have a brain, you're probably not going to like it. You have to be able to shut it off. But I don't know. That's just how I felt. Y'all may feel differently. Paul, I don't think saw it.
Nope.
Izzy, where are you at on it?
So where I'm at with this, I didn't like it. I didn't like it at all. I agree there was some comedy. I will say Miss Marvel was probably the highlight of the movie because she was being the character she was in the TV series, and she was the glue for them. But at the same time, going in, if you're a person that never watched Miss Marvel, never watched WandaVision, and all you're going at is Captain Marvel, because let's face it, it's supposed to be a sequel to Captain Marvel, right? It's not like its own movie. It's supposed to be a sequel to Captain Marvel, right? So if you go in saying I'm watching the sequel to Captain Marvel, but you don't give me throughout the whole movie, we have no idea how, that's exactly what happens. We have no idea who Miss Marvel is. We just know she's a character. We know she has powers. We have no idea who Monica Rambeau is. They don't even give us like a little bit of information about any of it. The quantum bands. Oh my God, the quantum bands. That's another one, right? The villain is stealing the story of Spaceballs, because that's
literally the plot of Spaceballs. Like, we're gonna vacuum out
man.
your atmosphere.
We're gonna give you air. Really? How stupid does that sound? Like, you're gonna hold all this air to give it to them, right? I don't know what was the deal with her costume too. Like, the rest of her costume, like, why did she need a grill? Was she like a hip hop artist or something like that?
Well, real quick, I'm with J-Med, and because it goes back, like, I do want to bridge these comments before I lose them. Like, it's a superhero movie, not a history movie. Laugh and have fun. For J-Med, it's the opposite way. When something that's my thing. Like, the way my brain works, when I'm watching a movie and I'm like excited and I'm like trying to, like, we haven't seen Rambeau since she got her powers. We haven't seen Kamala since that little scent. We haven't seen Brie do anything. Like, they have not developed that character since they came out with her first movie. Which is crazy. You have an Oscar-winning actress in Brie Larson, and you're not like leaning into letting her perform. It's mind-boggling to me. So I'm watching the movie. Like, this is the beginning of the movie. You're still excited from it starting. And there's blaring plot holes, like going from one scene to them showing you as the viewers, not holding your hand through exposition, but showing you how their powers work, to the next scene, their powers being foreign to them. Like that's my brain.
Everything about them was never explained in the movie. I just need a little explanation. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to spend a half hour on it. You could tell it in a conversation. That's all you have to do, right? They kind of did it a little bit with Monica, but even that was like, she went from having nothing to having a whole bunch of powers, right? Like, they didn't do that. They didn't build those characters. It literally just went in, they switched, they did Freaky Friday, and then out of nowhere, you see Monica and Fury end up in this girl's, Kamala's house, talking to the parents, and they were like, "Oh, let's see this, and then we do this, and then we do this." And there's a fight scene. And what they did to Fury?
How did she get the hammer? Why is it that the band for Kamala creates Green Lantern constructs, but when she takes the hammer and touches the thing to it, it creates like an all-powerful weapon? Nothing made sense. There's some things that really took me out of it. I'm going to get on to some of the things I enjoy too, because I'm not just here to bag on this movie by any means. I've got that out of my system. I've been doing that in comment sections, just pointing out, like, I just have, like, every time a movie comes out, like, the concept of, like, everyone watches movies differently. I have plenty of movies I enjoy that I know are bad movies. Morbius is objectively a bad movie. I enjoyed Morbius. Roger Corman was famous, and he intentionally went out to make bad movies. Sharknado knows that it's Sharknado. It knows that it is a bad movie.
Batman and Robin knows it's a bad movie.
They make it knowing that, they have self-awareness, and they make it where you're not watching it for anything other than the fact that it's fun to watch a bad movie. This was a bad movie without self-awareness, and that's when it disconnects for me. That's where I end up losing some of the fun.
So there was so much stuff happening, but yet none of it was actually truly explained, right? So we have the Freaky Friday thing. No one's really talking about how the Freaky, because they're connected. Okay, how's that all connected, right? So there's that. They're not. How could they all be connected if they got their powers in different ways? I don't get that, but whatever. A lot of things that people are not talking about. Captain Marvel's married.
Yeah, I'm going to get that about the low point. So Zack Snyder, the box office, he did around $700 million for Superman back in like 2013, 2012. They did over $850 million for Batman v Superman, despite the negative reception for Man of Steel. And Justice League, I don't even remember, because just like everyone else, I try not to remember Justice League. And life was crazy back then, me and the wife starting a family and a household and all that. But Zack Snyder historically has done 300, fantastic. Dawn of the Dead did fantastic. Legends of the Guardian, Alice got a little kids cartoon, did great. Sucker Punch low performed, I believe, but historically Zack Snyder does fantastic at a box office.
He goes like
actually,
this.
well, Zack Snyder's Justice League wasn't released at theaters; it was released.
It wasn't even in box office.
Yeah, that was.
I dare him to put it in box office for a limited release. Watch what happens. Snyder fans are there. Snyder fans will go, and those are the kind of fans that will buy tickets and not even go just to support it. Like, that dude did that event in Los Angeles a few months back. It sold out in minutes for them to screen stuff and just do like video thing. Like, that he has an amazing fan base, and when I say amazing, I just mean like loyal. I'm one of them. I'm not a crazy Snyder bot, but best believe if that 4-hour piece of majestic cinema comes to theaters, I'm going to go watch it. I've watched that movie more times than I can count.
Yeah. So, and I could go off with that movie, how bad it was. I think Fury was destroyed. He was awful in that movie.
This showed where delays harmed that too, right? Because you can talk on that. You're the first one I heard actually talking on that, with the inconsistency with Fury due to the delays in the flip-flop.
It was flip-flop. So the movie was, and they'll probably address that, knowing that them course correcting. So the movie is supposed to be set prior to Secret Invasion. That's why we had the whole Skrull thing happen. So if you watch it, the Skrulls in the movie that were havened by Valkyrie, who showed up for like a hot second. How conveniently for her to show up, right?
The killer tire, but man, it's funny.
So they pretty much flipped it without really fixing that. They could have easily timelined it in some way, like tell us it was here at this time, so that we didn't have to constantly think, oh, is this the same Fury? It's not. It was a Fury before Secret Invasion. And the whole scroll thing and Valkyrie and stuff like that. If you really pay attention, those scrolls should have ended up with Valkyrie, which would have ended up in Russia at the end of the day, right? Because that's how that story would have lined better. But no, they're not telling us that. So we're going in thinking, is this the same Fury from Secret Invasion? It clearly wasn't. And all they did with Sam Jackson is says, okay, Sam, tell us many, jokes you could possibly throw in this movie, because not a single moment in this movie did we ever take him seriously.
Dude, Comic Cap, debate away. Anybody that is familiar with
and
me,
I would defend the movie, man.
I'm all for
I will defend it, man. But I couldn't defend this movie.
Yeah, and I slant heavy DC,
and I'm not a DC fan. These guys know I'm not the DC guy here. I'm the Marvel guy.
I've loved DC and Marvel my entire life, and they both have their ebbs and flows. And for me, like, I've always slightly preferred the DC characters better. Hulk is my all-time, but
yeah,
in recent years, because for me, it's comics first, man.
Yeah,
the best stories are always in the comics first, and it is undeniable. This is not my opinion that DC is doing better for their readers right now than Marvel's doing for their readers. That's just not even questionable. But so like I just lean more DC. As a DC fan, going to theaters is heartbreaking, and like that meme you see out there when Marvel releases a movie and you see a full theater. When DC releases a movie, it's empty. I go to premieres for everything I go to the movie theater for, because if I'm going to the theater, it's because I'm excited, and we make plans. We look at schedules for work ahead of time. We check like what's going on with the kids. Like we picked up our Godzilla -1 tickets for December 1st already, and we had to make sure all that. But it's heartbreaking going to movies and like not seeing fans show up. Because they're like, and bottom line is, the theaters aren't the same. The DC fandom changed heavily when Marvel became the next hot topic item, when it's just like cool to like Marvel because of the movies. And what's happened is the natural swerve. Like everyone came, it was cool, and now they're looking for the next thing and blah, 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 and is chipping away down to just the people that were there when it started, like the comic fans and the sci-fi movie fans or whatever, like the influx of people that came in through the tail end of that Infinity Saga was exponential, especially with the lockdown and everything, and everyone that leaned into collectibles as a source of income, and it's just those kind of people are going back to work and moving on to the next thing. You just think about it. This has been going on for how many years? Like how many, like my kids hadn't even gotten into like the Marvel stuff. I try to show them Marvel movies, and Finn likes Iron Man, loves the Iron Man stuff. He likes Captain America, but the rest of stuff I can't get him into. Like he's watched Blue Beetle like 1,000 times since he got it. He loves that. Like that resonates with a young audience. And I've seen a lot of people say the Marvels was for the younger this, younger that. Like, yo, let me explain something. That it wasn't for you. That is the dumbest argument that's ever been said by anyone about a fucking movie from Marvel. You know how much money they put into these things? This movie has to be for everyone, or they're going to lose their hat on it. That being said, I have kids. I love Despicable Me. I love the new Little Mermaid movie that just came out. Like there's so many kids stuff that everyone gets to like. They make these things with these huge budgets, knowing they have to hit everyone. That it's not for you is the dumbest thing someone can say.
Yeah,
when you're talking about
say that
a movie with a
like
budget like this. You're high. You're just repeating a bad take someone had to try to discredit someone's critique. But it was just bad. Not J-Med. We got Adventurous Joe dropping that 4 milestone. DC has a lot of fans. Why do you think DC still exists? Yeah, they just need to actually show up. Like, dude, everything's changed with streaming and the internet. It is crazy.
I think DC fans will show up when Superman comes out. I think what they're doing now, we know this has no ending. This is being finished. And I think what's happening with the DC fan base is that it needs to grow again. You know what I mean? I think Superman is going to be the movie to do it.
If they miss, burn it all.
It's over. It's over, right?
Don't even.
But I think what's going to happen with Superman, is the James Gunn fans are going to show up, and if the movie's good, that's when everybody else is going to jump in, right?
Yeah, well, I just hope they don't have
a
corny song number in it. I hope they don't have random kittens that out of left field that are no longer killing people or teleporting people in their stomachs and just.
This is what I was going to say. Tyler said it, and I hate to admit it because I don't want to agree with anything that Tyler says. But Tyler, so this is a big deal that I have to agree with Tyler. Guardians of the Galaxy did something that hurt MCU.
Oh, you think Tyler? Dude, I've been preaching that since
I know that, but Tyler, the last time I saw Taylor said it, and I have to agree with it. So this movie was a perfect example of let's turn the Marvels into a Guardians of the Galaxy type movie, right? Because what happened? He has to show up for it, right? So
someone said his name.
Yeah, you say his name, he shows up. Tyler, I'm going to agree with you this one time only, but I will say this much: the god awful singing planet thing that is straight out of the James Gunn script. That is so James Gunn, right? Only thing is, James Gunn would have made it work. They did not make it work. I think when it first started and they started the little whole singing thing, I was down with that. I was okay with that at first. But then when it became a running thing, and then she's like, I'm married, and they got to do this ceremony.
And Brie actually sang, my dude. She's a legitimate Disney princess now. They princess status her.
That was so bad to me because it felt so forced upon.
And apparently that was potentially Disney fishing the foreign market, which they've lost. If you notice, like the people that have a problem and that use the term to describe the movies they have a problem with it was woke. That's why it didn't do good, blah, 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 which not getting into that, but just saying this movie
about this movie
did not contain any of those markers in it. That if you want to know a good definition of a good way to measure if a movie is woke, see if it released overseas. That's your metric. Like, you don't even have to ask anyone over here our opinion. Overseas do not release MCU movies unless they're edited for their markets. And they haven't been lately.
Titles too and all that stuff.
You got to change titles. You have to take scenes out because not every culture is the same, and that's okay. But this
No
movie,
Way Home, China made people get off of the Statue of Liberty.
Captain America: The First Avenger is just called The First Avenger. Doctor Strange: Multiverse of Madness, America Chavez's parents being in there, they wouldn't do Eternals, and they don't do a lot of stuff overseas that we do here. Different cultures conduct themselves differently, but this movie premiered overseas, and that actor who is Carol Danvers' husband in the MCU is apparently a big star in that market.
Yeah,
and they were using. Star. Yeah, I'm not familiar with him, but they're using him.
But I think there was something about him.
Yeah. They used him for a draw there. So I wonder if we'll see him again in anything or those people or something. Potentially, I guess. But yeah, things that I enjoyed about the movie was definitely watching Carol Danvers do work, watching the choreography for Kamala Khan. Despite not being a big kid, I can see the happiness on that kid's face. I love that moment of realization for her when it dawned on her that Carol Danvers is not the hero that she's created in her head, when she wasn't wanting to save everyone. Save who you can, let's go. And she's just like in disbelief. And
they could have done so much with that, and they kind of they put it to the side in like a one-liner.
Yeah, they knew what to a degree, they knew what they had. So it's crazy to think they were okay with it, but they chopped this movie down to make it super short compared to what they had. So I think that some of that might have been gone with the wind, potentially. But yeah, those are definitely some strong points for me. The bantering with her family, I would say it was done good, but it's just like where it misses with me is it's just the same old modern MCU trope that everyone's tired of. Like when I first got on YouTube, the hottest take I had on anything was telling people I'm not a fan of Thor Ragnarok. It's my canary in the coal mine. When I started YouTube, I was telling people like, yo, all they did was they made Guardians of the Galaxy Thor. And that was a terrible idea. That's not the character. These characters are just bastardized versions of who they are. This isn't Thor. This isn't Hulk. I don't know what I just watched. It's ridiculous. Sure, it had great music. Sure, there's pretty lights. Sure, there's action in it. Cool. It just wasn't for me. I'm able to rewatch it and stuff like that. And when I do, I'm just like, this is not Thor. I said it then that's a terrible idea. And then people used to argue with me. They're not da 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 da. And now everyone's saying the same shit. Enough with the jokes. Enough with the jokes. It's too campy. It's too corny. So the parent stuff, while executed well, it just feels like, yo, we're still doing this. We're still doing this. This movie could have been a TV show, is what it felt like. It didn't feel like cinema to me. It felt like television. I was watching television.
Well, they even when it comes to the music, right? We had the intergalactic planetary Beastie Boys in the song that you would never even think about.
The best song in that entire movie was "Memories from Cats." First off, I love that musical. Love that song.
I went to that musical.
Oh, nice. That's my mom's favorite musical of all time.
Yeah,
that and Phantom of the Opera.
I saw that.
Thor: Love and Thunder was my favorite MCU movie ever. It's
Let's
even
go.
above Endgame.
There you go. Everybody has a right to that,
bro. That's what people are legitimately saying about like this. Like this. Like I've literally watched people say this is the best MCU movie to date. But then again, we hear people say that about every movie that drops, whether it be Marvel or DC. You always find that people say this is the best.
Well, Marvel screwed themselves over when they gave fans an out by calling a movie Endgame, being like, okay, we're done.
Yeah.
You guys don't need it.
Come see Avengers, the final film we're making. Wait, there's more after this? Wait a minute.
Well, but you know what?
So the next one will be called Avengers Addendum.
Addendum.
To that point, you're not wrong, because what we're having here is the B-list characters taking center stage for the most part. A lot of
that's what Guardians was. They were freaking C-list characters.
Yeah. So, but now the B-list characters are all the B-list characters, right?
You know what the real problem?
That's why they want to get the Iron Man to Captain America's back. The only person they really have is Spider-Man now.
The real problem with them trying to make like James Gunn style movies is they're not James Gunn. You know, I wouldn't expect anyone to try to make, we're going to make Captain America Brave New World, but we're going to make it like we're Joe Johnston. You're not Joe Johnston. Like, Thor 5's coming, but we're going to try to channel Kenneth Branagh. Like, yo, Kenneth Branagh, are you crazy? Like, you're not him. You're not. You're insane. Like, maybe it's just like it's just noticing it in this market for the first time. But you know, like when JR started illustrating comics and he started drawing comics, it looked nothing like it does now because he was trying to mimic what comics looked like to him. But he found his own style over the years. Maybe we're just seeing young creatives in the industry that not necessarily found their style yet. And you know, does that make maybe?
Well, that's always been the Marvel approach. Find the up and coming director and give him a shot and see what happens, right? That's exactly what they did.
Aren't spent on the casting crew.
But that's how I did. But when you hire someone that does, Rick and Morty, and that's all you hire to be your writers, this is what you're gonna get.
That's crazy. Rick and Morty's phenomenal. Why are they doing that?
But this is what you're getting. You're getting Rick and Morty as a movie.
Well, let's segue then, because it's announced we got the writers for Fantastic Four, hot off of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, bringing in the creative geniuses of one of my favorite sitcom shows ever, are developing the Fantastic Four movie for us, guys.
So which writer? Because they all three of those guys are writers on the show, aren't they? Like Rob the guy who plays Mac, created the show, but all of them.
So who's gonna be? Is Charlie Day gonna be Mr. Fantastic? Is that what we're trying to say?
I'm hoping Glenn Howerton will be, and that way we can get the Reed system for picking up chicks.
I want to see Charlie Day as.
There's an I in there, so we still have the implication. We still have the implication.
The dentist theory, or what is it? Yeah, the dentist theory, which is funny because that episode's great because it's his wife that's playing like the pharmacist, and everybody always like comments on it and being like, "Oh, look, the dentist theory works because he got the girl because it was his wife in that episode."
Joe diving in. Rick and Morty is meh crap. That's my opinion. Deal with it. Yes, sir. But the dentist system is hilarious. And even in the later season, when Mac was trying to pick up dudes, he's like, well, I've got a system for that too. It's called the Send. It was just dentist backwards.
So quick question. Did they align Loki to the Marvels knowing how bad the Marvels is gonna be? So they put Loki as the season finale
Absolutely.
to make you forget about Marvel.
Absolutely. If we're gonna get, it's like what they do. They're front loading Echo onto Disney Plus and dropping it all at once, so you don't get 6 weeks straight of potential
Marvel
criticism.
Spotlight.
Yeah, so like they're like, we're gonna release the Marvels on top of what these get. Like, we didn't mess with these guys. We had no clue what they were making. We just watched their finale. It's amazing. Premiere it the same day as the Marvels.
Fun fact: It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is on Disney Plus in Canada.
Well, fun fact:
really, in Canada,
Disney bought Hulu.
It's on FX. It's an FX show, and that's
Disney bought Hulu and acquired It's Always Sunny in that, and immediately started canceling episodes and taking them off the platform. Mm-hmm. So you can't even get all of It's Always Sunny.
I don't think they canceled anything on our side.
I promise you,
there's quite a few that like there. It's just
episodes you won't find is D doing the reporter gig. You won't find the recent one where they actually, you know how they have on their birthday, they do Dennis Day or Charlie Day or Mac Day, and it's their birthday, so everyone has to do what they want to do. No complaining, or get another day. D-Day, try to find that episode. Good luck. Yeah, you don't know they're not there because they don't announce canceling them. Big Nosh is in the building. What is going on, brother? Yeah, some of those... Yeah, and you're in Canada. I can't imagine that they would even allow it there to begin with.
Yeah, exactly. I don't understand their culture anyway.
I'm trying to find the actual episode.
One of the best shows on TV. Love that show.
James Gunn. He does great for What We Do in the Shadows. I love that show. Fun fact, Esteban, I would say that you're right and wrong. He's actually really good friends with James Gunn. So I firmly believe he was trying to do James Gunn, who's been in the game longer than Taika Waititi did. Taika actually appeared in James Gunn's Suicide Squad as Ratcatcher. They're good friends. I love Taika Waititi. Love What We Do in the Shadows. Like, fantastic comedic genius. Has no business.
Isn't he on another show too?
I don't know.
He has Pirate or something like Max. That? Yeah, Pirate Show and Max. I haven't seen it though.
Yeah,
something about
What We Do in the Shadow,
like that, flag or something like that,
So the last week I had the mystery movie that we thought was going to be the Marvels was actually the Taika Waititi movie, which is Next Go Wins. Movie's hilarious. It is one of the funniest things you ever see, and it's based on a true story, and it has the heart that you want in a movie. It's your typical movie. The team is bad. They bring in the coach. The coach is equally as bad, and you know. But it's definitely worth watching. It is so hilarious, though. It's absolutely hilarious.
Is it a family-friendly movie?
Yes,
is it an R-rated comedy.
It's a PG-13. PG-13. Nice. There are some moments I would say, but it's you got no sexual moments and things like that. But there's a little bit of cursing here and there, but nothing too serious. But it's a funny movie, man. Michael Fassbender.
Oh. I know why that episode, but I did see it. I did see that episode on Disney Plus here in Canada.
Can you tell the viewer what happens?
The reason why is because Frank shows up. I was wondering why that even was still left on. I was like, whoa.
So what Dee does for D-Days is she makes all the guys dress up as the different characters because she wants to be an actor in the show so bad. Like she has all these different characters that she plays throughout all the seasons, and they're all stereotypes of different, like the drunk Irish lady with the black eye who's tending the bar, the Hispanic reporter, Frank shows up in brown face, suffocating from all the makeup that he that she applied to
wow.
him to be the Hispanic reporter. So
I'll
they
be
X-rayed
honest.
that.
I'm gonna tell you something now. I actually started watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so I'm actually on the first season, and the first few episodes, I'm saying to myself, how did they get away with this stuff?
Episode 1 titled "The Gang Gets Racist."
Yeah.
Right in the beginning, they're like, "We're telling you what we are."
And what's funny about the show, the whole point of what these people want to do when they're writing this is spotlight the most terrible people they can imagine
In the world.
They're trying to show you what the worst of humanity looks like in these characters.
The abortion.
These aren't people that you idolize. These are people that you try your damnedest to not be like. And it's not hard.
I'm watching it, Stefan. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. My wife is like, I don't know if I can watch it.
I've also been watching / listening to It's Always Sunny pod, and like how they talk about each episode and stuff. And then like they had beer company come in. They were like, yeah, Budweiser got out right quick. After they started watching the show, no more Budweiser.
What is it? The third episode with the kids in the bar, and they were serving them drinks. You got the episode with the transgender woman that he was dating and stuff like that. Like those first episodes
that comes
were
back.
like,
that comes back.
Those first episodes are like, and then during that time too, it's like, you go in there, aren't you?
I feel it really hits its stride in season 2 though, because like everybody finds their character in that.
When Frank shows up, game changer.
Oh, you! I'm so excited for you to get into some episodes with Frank, because this is like I've never seen.
Hey, just immediately introduce him by just hitting him with a car. But getting back on track a little bit. There was a big announcement that Disney is going to be officially merging with Hulu in an attempt for this company to get profitable again. They had their next quarter earnings report come in. The company is doing absolutely terrible, but they did manage to stop the decline, and they came in a little bit higher than they wanted. Disney Plus still came in at like a $400 and something million loss, despite getting a few more subscribers in there. And this is not counting what's about to happen with the Marvels and all this, but they put out a report warning parents that come December that your kids who you allow to channel surf Disney Plus will have access to all of the content. So to set your parental controls, which I'm a parent, and Finn is at an age where he's now channel surfs on streaming services. So I appreciate them actually putting that call out there. They can go to hell for not putting that call out there when they put Free Guy on there. Because the Free Guy that was advertised as like on Disney Plus is just a family movie we turned on for family dinner night, like when that dropped in. There's just a big old sloppy fat F word just slap dab in the middle of it. And I'm like, dude, this company can just go to hell. Disney's up $10. Thought it was $7, but it was a huge jump. So this all comes from the price cutting things. And another thing they announced that along with that report that they are going to aggressively continue. I think that like something massive, like was like 3 billion more that they're going to look to trim off. And when they say trim off, this means that they did those 7,000 plus layoffs. They shut down the Galactic Star Cruiser. They ripped tons of content off of Disney Plus, like dumping on the people that worked on projects, even brand new projects and stuff. And they just jacked their prices up, which I got the notification yesterday that it's jumping up. And they're
Apple.
They're also accelerating the ESPN as opposed to be its own streaming service as well. So it's going to stream.
ESPN that brought in their profits to give them that little boost, which I'm calling a little boost, but apparently in the stock world that was actually a very, very good jump. Like it was all of this. Big thanks and big shout out to that aggressive investor Nelson Nelson Peltz, who put these people on notice that he's coming for those board seats, because that's when they started pushing all this and pushing it hard. So I think it's going to be tough for people who might be I mean, I can't even imagine how many people work for Disney in one way, shape, fashion or another. But it's got to be a scary time.
And they're upping the investments in their theme parks as well, because that's always been a pretty healthy thing for them, is their theme parks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, the investor. Yeah, I'm excited because we're getting close to December. We're going to find out what happens with those board seats. Hack Firestick is always cheaper. LOL. Yeah.
Talk about another show that just ended that I finally watched the ending of. That the show's completely done now. And I thought they ended it pretty good. This last episode of Doom Patrol. It made me cry a little bit.
Y'all soft ass. I've got to jump back into that.
Same here.
Yeah, the whole ending with, like, especially with Rita, right?
Yeah, that too. And then how they really, really ended it really good with Cliff. Like that, I don't want to give too much away, but like
how the real boy.
Like, did they treat it like a real finale, or was it cliffhanger ending?
Yeah.
No, it's really a good ending.
Good. Awesome.
And you saw Paul?
When does Dead Boys Detective start?
I think I want to say January, maybe February.
Dead Boys Detective.
Yeah.
Dead Boy Detectives.
Yeah, actually, I am looking forward to that one.
I am so looking forward to that one. The trailer looked amazing. I absolutely loved what they're doing. And Netflix is really doing good things. Like, I don't want to praise Netflix, but like we had The Sandman come out, which was fantastic. We had One Piece come out, which was fantastic. Wednesday come out. We're going to have Rebel Moon. Like, Netflix is I think they finally understood you. Like, they're like, you know what? We're going to stay out of the way. We're going to hire these people that know what they're doing. Like Zack Snyder, we're going to hire the person that's been behind the One Piece TV show and manga, the creative director of that. And then we're going to hire Tim Burton, who knows what he's doing. He understands the world of the Addams Family. So we'll put him on Wednesday. And you have Neil Gaiman overseeing The Sandman. So I think Netflix really knows what they're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm with Comic Cap as well. I'm a huge Extraction. Tyler Rake is one of my favorite action stars, and there is rumors rattling around that Marvel might be scouting the director of the Extraction movies to bring him in for Thor 5. And can you imagine the visual, like, just pacing and style of those, but in a Thor movie? That would to get to feel like, whew.
To Raiders question, Dead Boys is going to be on Netflix.
It's going to be on Netflix, not on Max.
Yeah.
TM's in Canada. Everything's different there.
What I'm shocked is that it actually has the logo. It has the DC logo where Sandman did it, but Neil Gaiman has some rights when it comes to Sandman when he does it with Dead Boys, even though Dead Boys is part of the Sandman universe.
If you read the Sandman and you watch the Sandman show, you can see the slight differences between it because you don't have Demon in there, you don't have Martian Manhunter, you don't have Scott
Batman.
Yeah, so you don't have those characters showing up that they did in the Sandman series.
But even without all of them, it's still hewed pretty close to the story.
Yeah.
Yo, when that first episode started and Tafiki from Moana was in the dream world, I'm like, yo, this is amazing.
Right.
Like the big island lady god that was just laying there. So I'm like, dude, I got that reference. I love Moana, dude.
And there's a possibility that they could cross over like the Sandman and the Dead Boy Detectives.
Yeah, because it's in the same. It's pretty much in the same universe.
Yeah, well, the Dead Boy Detectives was introduced in the Sandman.
But they haven't touched that story because that story is supposed to come out later in Sandman. So we'll probably end up seeing it in the second season of Sandman, which I'm super hyped for that because that's when they're going to do Season of Mist, and I want to see what they do with that storyline. How they're going to do Hell. I'm curious as how they're going to do Hell. You know, the way they did it in the comic book was just insane. So
it was issue 25. The Dead Boy Detectives. They got introduced to each other and stuff, and figured out they were dead and sacrificed. And blah blah blah.
So good.
We all got anything else from announcements, the movies, the shows I want to touch on? Move into some books. It wasn't a huge release week, but there's definitely
2 books that came out this week were good. That I
picked
was
up a whole 2.
Well, there was 2 that I read. I'll say one is good and the other one is interesting.
Super fair enough. I think I've got like 5 or 6 that I went through and read. But I want to burn through a couple ones real fast. But Hunt for Skinwalker Ranch is one that I'm just like digging because I'm missing Department of Truth, and it's literally just about the kind of like retelling the events from Skinwalker Ranch and the myths and the legends and the actual investigative teams that have gone out there. We've had to hit the point where the investment banks came in and bought the ranch from the owners of it and started conducting real investigations there, which is super, super fun. That's about the only one I'm willing to burn through, to be honest with you. Batman 139. Anyone else read that?
How was it? I picked it up.
So we're done with the Gotham War. We're getting into Chip Zdarsky's next little thing, which looks like he's bringing Joker in for the first time with him touching on Joker. And we haven't really had Joker in the main Batman title since the Joker War when they're just doing too much Joker. So it's nice to have him back. Didn't even realize that I missed him or would be excited for him to come back in. And it looks like it's not just going to be Batman going against the Joker. The Joker's aware of Zur-En-Arrh. He's fully aware of Batman having this like crazy subconscious thing going on, and he wants to play with that. And it's happy to come out at the end of it here, and it was pretty dope. Yeah, this is the way the last page ends with Batman getting forced into a subconscious, and all the Zur-En-Arrh saying, nah, you can stay here. Like Batman realizing he wasn't in control like he thought that he was, and yeah. So he is.
I like that Algemine version of Batman, that one in the corner that looks very Bruce Timm.
There's a Bruce Timm one. There's the Batman 89 Zur-En-Arrh. There's the Batman 66. There's the Mike Mignola Batman. They're everywhere. There's the Bob Kane Batman Zur-En-Arrh there. He pulled them all out.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. What is Alan Wake 2? Sounds like a musical. For my song and dance numbers, I tend to go to The Greatest Showman. They're phenomenal. Check it out. Check it out. Hugh Jackman. Big one from this week. I assume that Izzy read this one.
Yeah. Spoilers.
Full spoiler.
Spoilers. Poor Bambi.
Poor Bambi. Yeah, this was interesting. Here we have the Autobots leaving the Ark and touching grass for the first time, and you have an Iron Giant moment, pretty much, where Optimus takes his first step, hears a crunch, looks down, and he had stepped on a deer, and he touched on, like, we're not used to this. This planet is so soft. Like back home, everything's metal and solid, and you kind of get to see just like the nature of Optimus, how human he is, how much he cares about like everything. But
it was good. It was a funny moment. I'm not gonna lie, it made me laugh.
Yeah, well, the issue was more like touching on like the battle of energy here. Like everyone needs energy. The Autobots, the Decepticons, we already know from the first issue, the Decepticons are already out there looking for it. They came upon Spike's dad at his job, squished his friend, find out that friend that was squished is actually the kid's girlfriend. It's her dad. We see the government responding to this whatever mystery of these giant robot things, and none other than Duke is in one of the planes responding. And dogfight with Starscream takes place. Obviously, Starscream takes him out, but there was a cool twist when they eject. Starscream gets and kills the pilot, and Duke comes out and he goes for Duke. You don't even know it's him at this point. I don't remember, but he hits another button, and the wings come out on the jetpack and cut the chute, and he flies straight at Starscream and shoots him in the eye, like, and keeps on being like, "Yo, I was not
so here, man."
After that, that's the moment you get to like the close up and says Duke, and you're like, that's why.
So when we were in New York, they showed those scenes, and we already knew firsthand it was Duke. So on the cover, that's Duke on the cover,
despite him not being the pilot in the book.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the pilot, but that's Duke. I thought that scene was great. The one thing you didn't mention is we get our first glimpse of Megatron in this book too. Yep. Right,
yeah,
so we got a little scene, a little bit of Megatron.
We knew that the day issue 1 came out because Felix and Daniel Warren Johnson actually spoiled that live.
Yeah, so there was a little bit of that going on, and then to find out at the end that the girl was Duke's daughter.
Yeah, her dad got
That was
scorched.
Joseph.
So, yeah, Peter. Ooh,
So we
but
got
the way
Laserbeak hot on her trail. So we're about to get to see a battle between Laserbeak and what's his name, Spike's dad.
Yeah.
Also, are we supposed to assume that girl that got pulled in to that cabin is a Witwicky?
Yeah, there's a wiki. There was a yeah.
Yeah,
So-
they because that soldier said Witwicky and pulled her in.
Yeah.
Oh, a little Easter egg there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the wiki moment. There was a lot of little Easter eggs in this book, more than you could even imagine in some cases, right? So you got the wiki reference. Now you got me looking into the book here. Obviously, so you have that. You have I love the scene with Cliff Jumper. Like, what is that?
Yeah, he freaked out when he saw a human. I think he's about to be the little heart and soul of the team. Where historically, this guy doesn't make it long in anything. Like he died in Bumblebee movie.
He's like
he
the
died in,
Bumblebee of the show now.
Yeah, it looks like they're switching places with B and Cliff Jumper in this because I have a feeling that he's going to end up being like the human companion. I mean, he's human size, so he can go and do things humanish that Optimus cannot, obviously. But yeah, I'm excited to see what other characters are going to be waking up, what they're really gonna do. This is a 6-issue arc, but I'm keeping my focus on. I'm really like kind of keeping it because that's what Danny Warren Johnson's like 100% on. We're losing him on the art after 6, but he's going to continue to write it. So I'm not worried for the series, but I think we're going to get a solid just 6-issue arc out of it right out of the beginning.
It'll probably be quiet for a while.
Paul, did you read it?
I did not. It's in my. It'll arrive next
Gotcha.
weekend.
So Duke is not her dad. So
No,
Wiki's her
Duke
dad.
Duke is not her dad. The guy who died at the last page of the first issue was her dad.
But it says here Mr. Wiki, so she's not referring to her dad when Duke sees her.
No, Mr. Wiki is Spike and and his dad are Witwickies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yeah, they were in the original run too. It wasn't like I don't think it was like spot on Witwicky, but that's like Sam Witwicky from the movies is the kid from the first volume of Marvel's Transformers.
Yeah.
It was Spike and God, what is his dad's name?
Sparkplug.
Sparkplug. There it is. Spike and Sparkplug were the human characters for the first 4-issue story arc. You know, I haven't seen them again after that as I'm going through it.
They're the characters in the cartoon too. So in the cartoon, it's them. Yeah, they're for Generation 1. They're in the entire season, and then when they get to the movie, we go into the future, and they don't really say anything about what happened to Sparkplug, but Spike's a grown adult now, and it's Spike's kid.
Got you.
So
makes sense. And another one that I'm sure Paul's on top of this one. Shazam.
By
Mark Waid. Now you can do Shazam because I haven't read that one yet. I assumed you were going to pull this one, but hit Shazam because I haven't read that one yet, so I'm not able to. Someone's got to spoil it.
As if you've been reading Shazam, you know that each of the gods of the Shazam, like Solomon, Hercules, Atlas, Zeus, Achilles, Mercury, they all been taking turns controlling Billy or controlling the captain when they're there. And so Billy actually decides, as we start, he's actually not in his Captain Marvel form. And he doesn't want to, he knows something's going on, so he doesn't want to say the word, and he's unable to. So Mary Marvel says the word because he wants Zeus. Zeus is the one that's going to now throw the bolt down and take control of him. She wants Zeus to enter into Captain, and she says the word. She's fast enough to actually escape from getting hit by the lightning, and so the lightning hits Billy, and that's where we are. And then there's this big discussion between the gods and Billy as to who should control. Billy wants to control. The gods want to control. So Billy says, "Well, then fine. I just won't be the captain anymore." And Freddy stands up and says, "I'll be captain," and that's where the issue ends.
What's a little whimsical gimmick with this one? Because each issue's kind of been almost episodic with like kind of like the whimsical tone with the Pantheon story like being the connecting thread. But are we still dealing with the gorillas?
There was actually a mention of the gorillas again, yes, in this particular issue. Just kind of a reference back to where everything started and everything. And like, there's a little editor's note that said, yes, there were gorillas, and it was like, yes, you need to go see issue number 1.
Solid. What cover did you end up getting for 78?
I got the guy who did the first series, Wilfred
Yeah,
Torres.
dude. He nails the
Will Ferrell Torres. It's actually Will Ferrell Torres because there's here we have an artist who's Will Torres. Okay. So it's Will Ferrell. So
yeah, he captures in simplistic fashion just Christopher Reeve perfectly. So the new artist on it, I mean, it's not bad at all, but it definitely doesn't. The hair's wrong. The face is wrong.
The face kind of looks like
more like a Superboy.
I was gonna say it looks like an amalgam of Christopher Reeve and Tom Welling almost.
Oh yeah. But the story was fun. It was fantastic. You have Lois spying on some government bad dealings. It looked like some double dealings with the bad guys kind of deal, watching them selling technology and stuff. And they catch her, tie her up, throw her in a boat, put it on go, and it's on its way to crash into a big ship when Superman comes and saves her. You get a little bit at the Daily Planet, getting some fun Perry and Jimmy stuff as Lois's recording of this weapons deal got destroyed, so they can't run her story, blah, blah, blah. Then we get back to see the guy who is in on the deal goes back to Russia, reveals that he's who he actually is, and you get to see that they're working on a big metal suit that they're powering with a chunk of kryptonite that landed in Russia back in the day when Clark landed in Kansas. And they're telling this guy who's going to pilot it that you're going to put the world on standby, take out Superman. The world will fear Russia, and they will know your name, Metallo. I'm like, oh, snap. This suit looks like the Lex Luthor suit in the making.
It looks like the battle suit, doesn't it, from the 80s, late 90s or whatever?
Absolutely.
I was excited for that reveal at the end.
Yeah, I was not expecting it. So I thought that was super dope.
I was kind of thinking, I was just like, no, it's not gonna like. I was just like, well, that would make sense to have a kryptonite thing, but it's not the original story. And I was like, wow, it won't be Metallo. And then it turns out it was Metallo. After I saw the suit, I was like, no, it's not Metallo. And then they said Metallo. I was like, what? Okay.
Wonder if he's gonna get bonded to it somehow. Or we got to keep in mind, like, this is done in a way that would have been practical for them to do as a movie. So that kind of adds like that uniqueness to it. It's what makes it Superman 78 proper, which we have the same writer on it. So I'm definitely excited. That first one was just such a blast. I hope we get Lex Luthor back though. I do want Lex Luthor back. I need some more Gene Hackman.
Some more real estate issues.
Yeah.
Throw in some Richard Pryor. Why don't you give it a shot? Since that was supposed to be Metallo.
Otisville.
Yeah.
I will say that the only thing that I did not like about this issue is it was too quick.
So fast, super short.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Yeah, I thought the same thing. Like, what was that? 8 pages? 18 pages? Didn't feel like 28 pages. So I got one more on my stack. How many of y'all got left? TM, you got Birds of Prey, right? Yeah, hit us with some Birds of Prey. Keep me up to speed on this.
Well, they're finally trying to get into Themyscira, and they're using King Shark to get into it. It was Harley Quinn's plan. So they're going. So they got into Themyscira. It's really cool. The scene that I really liked the most was when Zealot ended up cutting herself and then entered a worm into her arm and then the sand and said, now I won't be able to kill while I'm here. I won't be able to kill anybody, and I won't be able to be killed either. And then Harley Quinn starts giving her gripe about it, and so Zealot turns around and stabs Harley Quinn in the chest and then pulls it out and then says, see, you won't die. I can kill people. It's working. So I thought that was really cool. So they're on their way trying to get Sin. they end up retrieving her, but at that time, Wonder Woman's coming. And Wonder Woman knows that there's something up, so who shows up but none other than Oliver Queen, who tries to take down Wonder Woman and does not succeed, and we end up ending it with Wonder Woman coming at Black Canary and the rest of the team. And it ends
what
there
are they going
with
to Themyscira for? Like, what are they? This is what, issue 3 now?
Yeah, they're going to get Sin. That's Black Canary's sister. And with everything that's going on, she wants to get her the heck out of there because of the military going up against the Amazons.
So this is straight up tying into Wonder Woman proper right now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like
but is it supposed to tie into the Amazon attacks?
Yeah.
Series?
Yeah,
That's
like so
all-
like
yeah, right?
like a lot of what's happening, like, because like it's worldwide, so why wouldn't it be like affecting certain aspects of different DC?
I just like hearing that
characters.
because it's calling back to what me and Paul kind of discussed briefly on a recording we did for the deep dive tomorrow, how DC's really mapped out these past year and moving forward through this Dawn of DC era. They have really sat down and mapped out and worked out the details and the stories to like really get the continuity and the storytelling on a real solid footing right now. And that just speaks even more to that. Like that's really dope.
So next issue, it's going to be Birds of Prey versus Wonder Woman. So it's gonna be a
R.I.P.
sick
Birds of
issue.
Prey.
Yeah,
It's going to end up being like Harley
RIP.
just,
Like
it's going to be Harley just confusing Diana and just her just kicking him off the island. All right, just shut up. Just go.
I find it funny too. Like literally, like they tried to use a poison to take down Wonder Woman, and he got one arrow into her, but couldn't get the second one. And that's when she finds out like it was Oliver. And literally, he tries to put in the other arrow, but doesn't do it. And then the last thing you see is him getting punched in the face by Wonder Woman, and him saying, "Oh, I tried to hold it off as much as I can, my love, but." I turned her into butterflies at the end, though, and you just see him seeing like butterflies and stuff.
I just
was like,
love
what?
Green Arrow for those reasons, man. Those are the reasons why I love Green Arrow.
His series right now is super solid.
He's always been good like that. Mm-hmm. Isn't it funny though? But Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman has her logo is technically a bird of prey.
A W?
No, well, if you look at the W, sometimes it's shaped as an eagle.
Which
and that's a
W?
bird of
The
prey.
top W or the bottom W?
The chest plate.
Oh, the chest. Okay, I was thinking her logo.
Now, if you look at the chest plate always has right where the cleavage is. You have that little eagle look.
Yes, that's why I never noticed it.
Yeah, too busy looking at the actual cleavage. Then I'm an artist, so I got to look at these things.
I was counting the stars on her brief.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I got one more book, saved it for last. It's the hot topic book of the week, apparently. You know, I expected this book to get talked about a little bit. I didn't expect it. Like, let's get real. Like I didn't think about it enough, but this is probably like the most like controversial mainstay character around anymore. And it's Punisher. Punisher had a brand new issue 1 that dropped. You know, like Punisher got adopted into the culture war somehow, some way along the way, and stuff like that. You know, Disney has to weigh in, and you know what they're going to do with it most of the time. But it looks like fan outcry has really just kept him rolling. And to be honest with you, like he has not been a victim of said culture war. If you actually read the books, he just had a 14 issue, I think it was, series by Jason Aaron wrap up, where everyone was mad because his symbol that he was rocking on his chest was not the traditional skull, because he was literally the deity of the Hand Clan, the fist of the demon, and he rocked a hand logo on his chest while he leaded the Hand Army and became an actual god. The entirety through that run, his bulletproof vest with the skull logo was worn, was shown, and it was also hanging on a shrine in his room as a way for him to remember who he is, and he's not the killers that he's leading, because he had full intention of killing all of them before he was done with them. So they didn't get rid of the logo through that run that everyone said that they did. And Jason Aaron did a phenomenal job of that series. It was epic. And because of the way that series ended, I mean, the stakes went through the roof. Like, it went next level with that character. Frank's been through all kinds of weird stuff in his day. So I guess becoming a demon god is not off brand for the guy who's been.
Yeah, he's done it before.
He's been the Cosmic Ghost Rider. He's been Frankencastle. You know, this is a character that oftentimes gets.
He's been Demon Hunter Castle.
Yeah, he oftentimes gets to do supernatural or super stuff for a guy who has no powers. And so where he's at right now, he's actually in a place doing a thing. So they're doing a Punisher series.
Minus the Punisher.
David Pepos is writing it. Frank Castle is not the Punisher in this, and that was, everyone knew it. It was solicited as the man is different, the mission remains the same. So the stick to it was, let's check it out. Let's see who's this character, what's his deal, what's the thing, and what's up with it. So read it today.
I read it right before we talked.
I
said I had to read it.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
It wasn't as bad as I was expecting it to be.
So I wasn't expecting it to be bad at all, to put that out there. I was indifferent.
But
I didn't know.
My whole thing is with Punisher, there's two sides to Punisher, right? They got the supernatural part, which I don't like. I like the traditional Punisher kills all guys kind of guy.
Well, they do it so little, like it really just.
Well, Garth Ennis did it perfectly, right? The way he did Punisher. Yeah, I know Andy's waiting.
I'm pointing at Paul because I had this discussion. I was just waiting on someone to say Garth Ennis.
Yes, but he did it perfectly. I got to give him credit.
When did Punisher come out?
So Punisher, which one we're talking about here? We're talking about when he
Frank
first
Castle
came out
in ASM, like what, 129 back in like the
129.
70s, right?
So he's been 129.
Dude's been around for upwards 50 years, right? And in his 50 years, he's had how many Garth Ennis runs?
Since the late 90s.
No, how many Garth Ennis runs? He had that one masterful.
So he had the regular.
Right?
He had the limited series.
Born,
right? And no, Born is another series. That's
after
that.
I'm just naming them though.
Yes, you got Born. You got the Marvel's Night series, the second Marvel's Night series. Then you had the Max series. Then you had another Max series. So that has done a lot.
Yeah, I'm saying that Max run is like total like 10 volumes plus Born kind of thing. I don't think Ennis did Marvel Knights. Ennis didn't do Marvel Knights, did he?
No, he did the second Marvel Knight.
That's what I'm saying. So
the
like,
first Marvel Knights was the Bernie Richardson, and I forgot who did the writing though.
So what I did because I saw Andy's thing that he shared earlier in the week, and I went and started watching it, right? And I turned it off like pretty quick because I hadn't read Punisher yet. Mm-hmm. And then I got a chance earlier today to read it. So I went back and watched Andy's thing. So then I'm like, I wonder what other people are saying, because, you know, like different social medias have different takes, like universal takes almost. So X had like a lot of good feedback for it. YouTube, when you search it on YouTube, you pretty much only get like outrage channels. Yeah. And so I listened to some of the outrage channels. The critiques I was getting across the board is, this isn't Frank Castle, which sounds like a pretty dumb critique.
Which is true.
Yeah, it wasn't like I didn't buy it thinking it was. So appreciate you telling me that. A couple of critiques I heard were like, it's like a 90s action flick, which I'm like, thank God, it's a Punisher book. And he has a tech sidekick. Micro was a tech sidekick. I'm like,
yeah, this one's AAA.
Everyone has a tech sidekick if they're not their own tech sidekick. But so I didn't really hear like people like speaking on the actual story itself, other than Andy, and and I don't know. I saw it differently. He said it was boring. He said it didn't get into his backstory at all. He wants to know who this character is or what's going on with him, and I get that completely. But that's actually what I liked about this. That that's what the story is. The story is seeing who this guy is. So the way they introduced him. Well, real quick, the way they introduce this character, let me synopsis it. It starts off with an investigation at a house that has been blown up, and which I heard one reviewer say it's out in the middle of nowhere. It wasn't. It's in a freaking neighborhood, because when I saw a house blown up, I saw that the other houses were next to it. Not. But a house is blown up. They're investigating it. They find out that a woman and a child is dead inside. They find out that it was an intentional explosion because they find a wall that's still standing, and they investigate and find an unexploded bomb in there. And then it cuts to a gang bar with a very specific character called the Sokovian in there. And in walks this character who warns everybody to get out now or else. And the gang members say, oh, yeah, we were expecting something like this, but he paid us to not let you get in. Cue a cool fight scene, decent fight scene. There was it was on brand with Punisher. Dude is killing people viciously, violently in some aspects, slow stabbing people. People are complaining about the high-tech guns. This is not Frank Castle. I thought the guns looked cool. I was wondering why there are high-tech guns. Fast forward through this fight scene, you see him go back to his base of operations, which it tells us it's a defunct S.H.I.E.L.D. place. Turns out, and this is where it gets interesting for me, because this is not Frank Castle, so it should not be Frank Castle's story in someone else's skin. This is an ex-Black Ops agent for S.H.I.E.L.D., like a one-man killer, like an assassin that worked for S.H.I.E.L.D. called Gravedigger, who got outed. He got burned, burn notice kind of thing, and his family were killed because of his actions.
That's his
S.H.I.E.L.D.
connection to Punisher, kind of the same backstory.
Yeah, which I think is cool. Now, the one thing in this that I thought was just didn't make any sense is when the news reports got a hold of this slaughtering that took place at this gang. They're reporting that they thought it was the Punisher did it. The Punisher did it because he has the skull on his chest. Turns out he doesn't realize he has a skull on his chest. He's like, that's fine. They think I'm the Punisher or whatever. And he's like, it's just a tactical suit. Apparently, that's just the natural design of a S.H.I.E.L.D. tactical suit for that he has access. It's not like a standard issue suit, but this suit, you did see it in action where someone came down with a blade. It's not just a vest, it's a suit. He was able to put his arm up and the blade broke on whatever this tactical suit is, hence why it's like illuminated and all that stuff. But dude, I thought it was ridiculously solid. Like I like the weaponry being like techie because he's literally a high-tech covert operative one-man assassin for S.H.I.E.L.D. I thought that was actually pretty.
Yeah. To Andy's connecting, yeah, they're connecting Punisher to S.H.I.E.L.D., but this isn't Punisher, and he never claimed he was Punisher. That's the other thing. They're calling him Punisher because he happens to have a.
When was the last time Punisher was connected to S.H.I.E.L.D.? Because I heard Andy bring that up in his review. That last run, S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't present in it at all.
Punisher's more connected to Fury than to S.H.I.E.L.D.
I know, yeah. What in that last issue, he was completely disassociated from everything. Even like a few rogue heroes got together to go shut him down, and S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't in that last run at all.
Yeah, but the way I saw it was that they're making a new. It's almost like they're trying to make. Yeah, it's called the Punisher, right? They're just calling him the Punisher. He's accepting the moniker. I think that's part of the problem.
He's not the Punisher yet. Like that's the thing about like not having his backstory fully yet. Like he's trying to get to the Sokovian because he placed the bombs and blew the house up, but he doesn't want the Sokovian. He wants the guy that hired him. So we're about to, along with this character, is with the detectives uncover the murder of his family, the who's and whys and where's and what's from that angle, as well as watching from Garrison's angle take on this mantle. Like this is the first time he's enacted punishment, if you want to use that term. He doesn't consider himself the punishment, but it's going to be the journey of him accepting this. Frank Castle's not the first man to go out there and look for revenge. Like you should, like right now, he's the revenger. Like Frank got his revenge and kept going. So let's see if Garrison.
That was always in nature. That's why.
Yeah, I like how that's been built from Bourne to the Jason Aaron run that like bridges the age gap and stuff. Man, it was
always in his nature to be that way. It was just bound to happen, regardless of what happened. It happened. It was yeah.
Dude,
but I agree. I'm with Andy. I get what Andy's at. This is just an opportunity to create a new
Andy
character.
Is a diehard. Andy is a diehard Punisher fan. Like, did you like him as Cosmic Ghost Rider? Is he? I could care less.
I read Cosmic Ghost Rider. I read it a few times, and it doesn't feel like Frank Castle because this Frank Castle has gone through changes. I don't think Frank Castle could go through changes. That's how I feel about Frank.
The few Marvel books I pull is Hulk, Ghost Rider, and Punisher. That's it for my like ongoings with Marvel.
I
When
look at
Cosmic
Punisher
Ghost
as
Rider was
very-
coming out, I was excited. Then I'm like, oh, this is the writer. I forget who it is already, but it was a writer that I'd had some dealings with at DC. I'm like, nah, I'm not a fan. And I tried to pick
I
it up.
dropped in like 3 issues.
Yeah, I dropped it at issue 2. I'm like, this is trash.
I
And I was
dropped in 3
excited.
issues where I was like,
Was it Tim Seeley?
was
No.
it? I don't remember.
How dare you say
All I
no.
can tell you, is when I was reading it.
I think it was Stephanie
saw
Phillips,
Frank.
something like that.
Yeah, when I was reading it, I saw Frank, but I was like, I'm not feeling this. You know what I mean? For me,
Yeah.
Frank is very much his mission is always going to stay the same. He cannot stop that mission. He's obsessed with that mission, right?
Yeah.
He's Batman without the filter, without the.
But speaking of that,
he
remember
won't
when
stop.
you remember when Dick Grayson took on the mantle of Batman and even Gordon for a while there, like through those stories, like, this isn't permanent. This isn't permanent. It's just a story with an alt stepping in for a story. So, and I guess I took it as that, like, I never saw this announcement and I still don't see this as permanent. This is just this volume, this story. Who knows where it'll go from here? Frank Castle, the Punisher, will still be a comic book character that is in some way, shape, fashion, or form when we all die, just like Spider-Man.
I don't think this guy's gonna last.
No,
My personal opinion, I don't think he'll last.
no,
I don't think
absolutely
he's like
not.
a new character within the Punisher lore. No,
I'm all
he's
down for like a cool revenge story in this. I guess I'm down for that. Like, I don't know. I'm down for learning who Joe Garrison is and watching him run through some people in Punisher fashion.
Yeah, and I think in the difference between this character and Punisher, obviously they're not the same guy. But what I think with this Joe Garrison guy is that to him it is a mission. To punish Frank Castle is a suicide mission. He's getting a thrill doing what Frank gets a thrill doing what he's doing, and he knows there's an end point. It's like you kill me or I kill you. So he's waiting for the day to be killed, right?
And
it's a suicide mission.
Take it a step back more to like my personal preference. Like I do stay concerned with, especially with like are they gonna find a way to get rid of the skull? Are they gonna find a way to get rid of the the skull's here? We have the skull. The skull is front and center. But Frank just goes around and kills people with the skull, and the skull's been co-opted. Well, guess what he does? Guess what the new guy does? Guess what he does? He goes around and kills people with the skull. Like this, it's on brand. Like I'm down to see what happens with it.
It's a shield agent being the Punisher.
And I thought that was such a dope aspect to him. He's not just like a random shield agent. He's got codename Gravedigger. Like he topples governments without anyone knowing. And like they gave him like capability. Like Frank had it through like the Marines and stuff, and this guy has it through like shield training. So I don't want to see him forever. At least not right now. I don't. Like who knows if this character ends up being
Frank
cool and gets his own shtick. But Frank's have got like there's a story that's still like hopefully being written by Jason Aaron's of Frank's next chapter. Like I'd be interested to know, like, Andy, what did you think of that last run? Like where like I thought that was just like I thought it was epic. It did get like grand in scale. I mean, when Frank went on that warpath across the globe, just to hell with international laws, to hell with everything. I'm going in front doors. I'm catching people in their planes in midair. I'm slaughtering everyone. Like I thought it was wild. Marvel slide out of hand, yeah.
Yeah. Overall, and you got
this is literally his first appearance. This is literally his first appearance in comic books. This isn't an established character. This is something that we're all learning through the story. That's why it was told in that dualistic way of getting the death of his family, while you're seeing like who did it through his angle of chasing him down and getting his man. And the fact, dude, they had Hyde in here. Like I thought that was a cool little
this
plus.
This is Punisher's Miles Morales. What are you talking about? Let's
go. Buy 15 copies now while you can. I'm not trying if you want Frank Castle, this is not Frank Castle. They didn't solicit it as Frank Castle. If you're curious on who Joe Garrison is, what he's capable of, and why he's driven to do it, check out this story. If you like those street level dudes with guns, Mac Bolan machismo style books. This is what that is.
Well, I think it's Marvel's attempt of expanding Frank's universe. That's the only universe they haven't expanded on. Really, like they've done it. They've done it in the 90s, but not the Disney way, right? The Disney way is let's just take this character and let's just blow this up where he has a whole bunch of supporting characters and let's make spin-offs. So that's what this is. This is creating a spin-off. Pretty soon we're gonna get Joe Garrison Punisher. Then we're gonna get Frank Castle Punisher, just like we have Miles Morales Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider. That's what this is about. This is a cash grab moment, right?
You can't intro a new character like this and expect people to give a crap.
Yeah,
that's the part I don't get that. I mean, how are you supposed to intro this guy? Like if you want to do a Punisher story with another guy picking up guns and doing what Frank is known to do, what do you do?
But the thing with Frank is a lone wolf, right? He's a lone soldier. He's never going to have that.
And Frank is literally in an alt reality right now, like a different plane of existence, like protecting this like gang of kids right now. Like he had a very kind of poetic ending to that Jason Aaron run right there. That was wild.
So
which he will be back. I want to see a story told in that land that he's in, because if he's there protecting them, they didn't tell us and show us from what yet, like that would be dope too.
We'll see.
It's a hot topic book. It's going to hit different people differently. I guess I'm more curious to know who Joe was. I think David Pepos did a solid job of formatting and delivering this story. I like the way that we have the angle with the detectives. I like the way that it was pushing the plot forward via the tip of his guns, and I'm excited to see what this guy's capable of. I'm not familiar with David Pepos. I know he did like that Boy Scouts book, that post-apocalyptic Boy Scout book. That's all. I don't remember what the name of it was, but New Guy was a big fan of it. So
So the Rachel run, I'm seeing if there was the Greg Rucka run with Rachel where they were partners. I was never really big into that run, so I didn't read much of that run. For me, Punisher's always been a lone guy, even if he has someone next to him.
Yeah, he didn't have Micro out on the field. He did have that drunk homeless guy in the Dolph Lundgren movie that he put the liquor on the remote control truck and drove him around like a cat.
I think the only guy he's ever really truly cared for was Micro, because they did the same thing in the
they killed him in the movie.
Well, in the TV series, Micro was great. Like what they did with Micro.
We're gonna leave it on the hot topic button with that Punisher. I hope, dude. I appreciate you guys. I know tomorrow is a big day for you two down there, right? Mondays are big YouTube days for you guys. What do y'all got going on?
Especially for him.
Yeah, I'm doing double duty tomorrow with Scott. So Scotty and I, we're gonna do a double feature. I'll say where Scotty's gonna be with me at the Monday Night Poll List. We're going to do that show. And then afterwards, immediately after the poll list, we're going to go to Scotty's channel where he's going to interview me and ask me a whole bunch of questions. And then after that, we going back to that guy. This guy, I can never get it right. This guy over there.
That guy is beside you.
This guy.
Me. I do have
this guy over here. We're going to go to Canada and Florida at the same time. And what's happening over there?
We're going to have Cryo Prime Cody joining us, and the theme tomorrow is Forgotten Cartoons. So this is a good friend of mine.
Prime, right?
What's that?
Not Nemesis Prime. He's got something else going on.
No, this is a good friend of mine from Minnesota. He's more into model kits, like on YouTube and stuff. He does custom model kits, but he's a huge anime/manga fan and just getting into comics now. So it's really, it'd be really interesting to talk to him. I've had him on my channel before for chatting with the comic community, but yeah, it's going to be a fun time because his art style too is more anime style. And it's cool seeing him draw and do at home. So it's going to be some fun old times over on Between the Lines as always. So come join us in the Monday night lineup.
As always, Monday morning kicks off at 10 a.m. with the DC Deep Dive, looking at the new Golden Age solo titles that released with Wesley Dodds Sandman, Jay Garrick The Flash, and Alan Scott Green Lantern, all 3 issue number 1s that released over the past month. We dive back into those and discuss those while we're waiting on the next little mini event to happen with the Teen Titan books called Beast World. That'll be coming up soon. And tomorrow is the big video drop for the crossover event that Volume 2, me and DJ Links came together like butt cheeks previously to do a crossover event. We honored our members, channel members, and we did a Ultimate Fallout 4 prize. We're doing it a little bit bigger this time with Incredible Hulk issue 180 in the CGC 8.0. As you know, that is the first appearance of a little-known character called Wolverine. So
some guy named James, right? Some Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy. So we appreciate everybody that supports the channels, watches the channels, hits those thumbs up, subscribes, and we couldn't do a lot of the stuff that we're able to do without the channel members. So we definitely got to honor those guys, and we put together a little event for that. So be sure to check that video out tomorrow, and definitely consider supporting the channel. You can hit that join button down below, become a channel member, or hit that merch store and buy some t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, so you can stay warm in Canada this year. That's going to do it for tonight. Until next time, as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.